welcome back to Empire. I'm Dear Darling, and let us lead our band of exiles to their freedom and absolution, where we are doing something that we liberated. Was it last episode that we liberated Ruki? I think so. So you know that's right. We're in between period where we're waiting for stuff to happen or something. I think maybe not. I don't know. Sandra, do you have anything to say? You got nothing to say. Fair enough. I'm pretty sure she was like, oh, don't talk to me anymore, whatever. So we've got Ruki liberated. So that's 2 out of however many people we have liberated. I'm not really sure who I particularly want to liberate next. Because now Ruki's gone, I kind of feel like I should liberate Hedwyn and Jodariel, just because the trio wants to sort of stick together, right? I don't know why we can liberate Sir Gilman. I haven't exactly figured out exactly the reasons for when we can liberate people. I should have paid attention to who we could have liberated last match or whatever, but it's not really that big a deal in the end, because hopefully we can liberate everyone. It hasn't really occurred to me that maybe we're not allowed to liberate everyone, so perhaps I should be putting more credence and thought into exactly the people we're liberating, but oh well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. You once again find yourself amid the quietness of Moonlight Alcove. Here you can await the time until the stars deign for you to shine again. Bide your time. Yeah, it's a shame that we can't, use this time to sort of mentor people, but I guess, our friends need a little bit of a break, I suppose, since, until the next liberation rites happen again.
We have returned to a place of respite. Please make yourself comfortable, such as you can. We are at the mercy of the stars, but I expect they shall shine bright again in time. As for me, I shall return by then, for there is something I must do.
Very mysterious things you're doing here. There, from atop the sacred mountain, you gaze down into the abyss that is the downside. You wonder when the stars You wonder when the stars shall align themselves once more. I'm not sure who you want to liberate next time, because I don't know why we're still not allowed to liberate Sir Gilman, but we'll have to find out. There upon the sacred mountain, you and your companions once more await the night the stars begin to shine again. The plan of which you are all a part of is set in motion. The Commonwealth, a nation that stood almost for 1,000 years, is in turmoil. If your companions return there through the liberation rites, what sort of place shall they be coming back to? Surely if we sort of upset the balance of the thing, can we get rid of the need for liberation rites in the first place and people can just sort of come back? Many moons pass. One evening, amid a downpour with no interest whatsoever in relenting, Volfred requests everybody to convene. You understand he has an announcement of some sort. Soon, everyone is assembled, and Volfred regards the group. Rites of Flame, chapter revealed.
Everyone, there is an aspect of our plan which I've not talked about with you at length.
Alright.
Look around your companions. What do you see in them?
He lets a question hang in a moment in the air.
I'll tell you what I see in all of you. In all of us.
Potential?
I see in all of us living vision of 8 scribes
Themselves. Oh, okay, fair enough. I mean, that was a very sort of telegraphed link, I think.
Each one among them hailing from a different tribe which later formed our Commonwealth. My observation does not come from pompousness, I think. Rather, I believe the scribes themselves desired, or shall I say, desire such a course. Together, they created all the ceremony of which we're now a part. The exiles liberated through their rights went on to found the Commonwealth based on their values and their teachings. Thus, an instrumental aspect of our plan is to embody the spirit and the culture from which the Commonwealth arose so many centuries ago. That way, when we are all united on the other side in solidarity, the people all shall see that we reflect the values that they yet cherish in our hearts, not merely our own.
Yeah, we must be able to liberate everyone. You're saying all of us you united on the side, and it's probably foreshadowing that all of us could potentially make it. Well, provided I succeed at all the liberation rites.
Anyway, we're still missing one key representative on behalf of a Molten Millith.
4th of 8 scribes of a book of... Oh yeah, she's the snake people, right? Knows the impassioned of a wild witch. The mistress of fire and dust claimed she could shatter the world with a flick of her wrists. Oh, so you're finding us a companion.
And I happen to know a certain bog dweller who I think shall fit the part most splendidly indeed.
He motions for someone to approach. Hello. Have we met you before? I don't remember. A certain bog dweller steps forward. You recognise her straight away. We have met her, right?
It is my pleasure to introduce you to a dear old friend of mine who I believe you've met. Welcome to the Nightwing's Bertrude.
Is she the one who fixed our boat for us, or made it fixed our ship so it could go on water? The bog dweller called Big Bertrude utters something guttural by way of greeting. We have to understand that ye require further aid from us.
Yes, dear Bertrude, the time has come.
So I assume this is what happens to make sure that we don't end up with like the final rites only having 2 people or 1 person in it, is that we get these companions as well? I don't know. Well, it kind of depends if we can liberate Bertrude or not, and I don't really consider that. My understanding is she's kind of here temporarily, but...
Bertrude here is far and away the most accomplished alchemist whom I've ever met. You soon will find that she knows much about the rites as well.
Bertrude looks you and your fellow exiles each in turn. We frighten ye, apparents. Everyone is silent as Bertrude searches their expressions. I'm not frightened of you. Then tremble, small ones, and hold well thy tongues, lest we remove them. She takes her leave without another word. Alright, fair enough.
Please excuse Bertrude's blunt manner. I guarantee you she shall more than make up for it.
That does make sense, because we fought against the snake people of rights, and every person we fought against, we've met an accomplice for, I suppose, in the rights. So the question is, when is Wolfred actually going to join us in the rights? I imagine he must do, because we fought the treant guy, and we don't have a treant partner who wasn't Wolfred, but Wolfred said he doesn't want to participate in rights, so maybe he'll do that when our numbers get thinned down a little bit. He'll be like the substitute or something. Everyone disperses. It seems now that the ranks of the Nightwings are complete. Actually, does that make sense? Because what if you failed with liberation rights? Does that mean Wolfred would just never join your party? Maybe Wolfred's sort of just like the good ending sort of thing, where you had to liberate everyone and then Wolfred joins your party? I don't know. But Bertrude joins the group. You sent a powerful presence. Welcome aboard. Good to have you, Bertrude.
Now then, my girl, perhaps you notice the stars are shining. The stars are bright once more up there behind those stubborn rains, meaning it is time that we got back to business.
Indeed, once more, several stars shine bright with a cold and storming sky. The stars themselves await the will of the Nightwings. Choose your path towards salvation. Who do we want to fight in particular? I'm not really sure. How the Midnight Star, Gull, the whatever that said, Morning Star, and Millith the Bog Star. Wolfred's planner. So we got... I don't really care about this chastity people, I'm going to be honest. Novel withdrawn. The dissidents, it doesn't really matter because Ruki's gone now. Essence are still interesting. Pie Hearts. Gilman's thing is done. I'm not sure what the point of you is. Like, I assume each of these people relates to someone's stories. So this is Jodie's story. This is... Oh, I don't know whose story yours is. Not yours, actually. So only you three have a very clear tie. I assume you have a clear tie to Bertrude, which could be interesting to fight. But let's see who our options are first before I make any wild assumptions. Sir Deluge. I don't really want to fight Sir Deluge again. You or you? I'm going to fight you. I want to know more about Jodario's story, to be perfectly honest. And I think this is a way forward because this guy hinted definitely at the end that he knew them. Looks like we had to face the Tempers again in the next fight, which means Ignorius. He's probably still angry that we beat him in the Liberation Rite. Hedwin then offers you such details as he knows of your next adversary. Not Jodie. Oh, interesting. I guess we should be trying to fight a different adversary each time because then we get this sort of like a little summary about them, don't we? Sorry, having a sip of water. Ignarius, a long-time resident of the downside as evidenced by his appearance, yes, because you start turning into demons, right, or something. The strongest of the Tempers, he has waited years to earn his freedom. Born to a middling Commonwealth family, he got into trouble early and often, but found his calling in the Commonwealth's not entirely legal red light district. I didn't know the Commonwealth would even have something like that, to be honest. There he took many jobs, most involving his sheer size. Most notably, he was a bouncer at the Starry 8, an infamous tavern in the Commonwealth. It's widely believed that the Commonwealth officials sometimes showed up on incognito here to borrow steam. I get what you're picking, put you down. No, wait, I pick up what you're putting down. Where he came to symbolise his reputation. One day, a particularly belligerent guest got under his skin, so he gave him a tremendous thrashing. The club clientele all gave a cheer. However, this guest turned out to be a wealthy Chamberlain. I forget his name word. He then exploited his connections to have Ignarius arrested and exiled. This was 14 years ago. In the downside, Ignarius dropped his given name, as is sometimes the custom, and survived alone through his tenacity and strength. In time, he drew the notice of the Tempers, who revealed to him the rights, recruited him into their ranks, and let him work his way up. Now, at last, it is his turn. Mighty Tremor is closest rival, the Nightwings. He may not be the nicest person in the world, but doesn't make it right that he was flushed here with the rest of us. Very true, Hedwin. Anyway, we better get some sleep after today. Just painting more of a story of our Commonwealth being such a, a rather corrupt place. You wish a good night to Hedwin. Your travels shall continue at first light. So we have someone to talk to. Assume Bertrude, and Bertrude we do. You find Big Bertrude looking at the black wagon in a disapproving way. She fixes her gaze on you. Her expression does not change. Ugh, such clutter. added to this wagon since we looked upon it last, unsightly. We remember thee from our bowed and flagging hands. Then thou must be the reading one to whom Sandalword referred. She moves in closer, studying you. You recall the mere touch of bog crone on the southern bogs, a distant region of the Commonwealth left well alone despite technically being part of a nation. The cold and forbidding marshlands are home to the bog dwellers of Sar, colloquially known as the crones. Can induce paralysis or worse. Well, that's not good. That one such as thee can extract meaning from that tome. 'Twas a feat that we wish to witness for ourselves. Well, I'm about to read it, if you care to join me, I suppose. Thy flesh has seen but the smallest fraction of the years with which ours withstood, and yet we are expected to believe that thou canst understand the book of rites. Then she backs away, for someone else has joined you. Oh, hello. Hail, Gertrude, madam, is everything to your liking at this time, or is there something more which you require? We have been unable to locate a supply of what one gizzard extract among thy belongings. Other than that, we shall lodge no complaint at present. It is possible that Wolfred has small supply among his possessions here. If you would care to accompany me, we may yet procure some. That would be agreeable with us. But you have a blue emotion. Then after you, madame. As they depart, you think you see the lone minstrel nod his head your way. Thanks, buddy. Got us out of it. One of these tarot cards, Bertrude's decks, your unusual etched cards depicting the greater titans, probably for curses and enchantments. Ah, well, she's a witch, I suppose. So we'll read a new chapter of this book, Rites of a Flame. In the words of Solimer, with a blackened nails, do I hereby inscribe the rites of flame. The bylaws shall be written here in full. We, the eight, decree the right to test of one's true worth in body, mind, and spirit. Now, until the stars abandon us, this shall be binding law with a downside. Those deemed worthy of the rites are to regain their freedom with a downside, and return from whence they came. Exiles shall conduct the rites as one of 9 triumvirates, and look towards the stars for guidance on their path. Exiles shall bear this book as status. There surely are way more people in the downside than the people who are in the triumvirates. I assume just most people then just don't really care about going back to the Commonwealth. Essential structure. The essential structure of a rite shall be as followed. Where chosen by the stars within the dark of night, shall true triumvirates stand in opposite, far enough afield, beside their consecrated pyres, symbolising their resolve. In each triumvirate, the 3 shall act as one to demonstrate their trust in one another, and not just in themselves. Triumvirate shall endeavour to extinguish a pyre of their adversary, whose flame are only to be staunched with a celestial orb descended from the stars. Whosever pyre remains burning shall prevail. The triumvirates are to disperse. Searching the stars. We, the 8, have seen the turning of the stars from now until the ending of our age. Heed their guidance and ours. The stars shall make the many cyclic turns. The rites commence at their behest, upon celestial landmarks where the downside's greater titans fell before the heavens. Bearing this book bestowed on your triumvirate, you, the reader, shall perceive under which stars you are to congregate. Follow where they lead, as your adversary shall. If either of you fails to appear, then neither of you walks the path. Whether you prevail or you fail, from that path the stars shall guide you on. Alright. Before each rite, oh my word. So this is basically just a tutorialization of the rites and their origins, I suppose. The rite shall not commence unless the necessary preparations are complete at the celestial landmark, ere the stars align. Exiles shall conduct the rites bearing the book, of which there are but 40 copies, each bound in astral hide. 40, but only 9 triumvirates. That's very curious, isn't it? Exile shall wear the sacred raiments, fashioned in our likeness at the summit of Mount Elodial. Oh, is this only for... No, because the others are in special garments as well. Their identities are to be concealed, for they shall represent us all. I wonder if I was basically wondering if this only applies to the Nightwings. Exile shall set a metal sigil for their pyre, and a consecrated ground... What? Hello, text message. Do I need to reply to you? No, it's okay, I can reply to that later. And consecrate the grounds using the words, the 8 scribes gave their freedom so that we may yet have ours. The heaven shall respond when all is set. I see. That is words we see very often in Law 3. During the rite, each triumvirate shall act as one, unerringly and without question. The disobedient shall suffer banishment or permanent expulsion. From the downside, the downside already is like... Oh, it just means they can't participate in rites anymore, probably. Exiles shall move as of a single mind to demonstrate their faith, and recognise that they, as we the 8, cannot prevail alone. Their worth shall be determined by both their actions and their peers. Triumvirates lacking experience in this may designate a reader whose focus on the book. This book may help others to coordinate. Okay. However, only those who shall conduct the rites firsthand shall walk the path towards enlightenment and become eligible to regain their freedom. So, of course, just reiterating, a reader cannot be freed because they can't participate in the rite. Or, I mean, I suppose they could if they just had another reader. At the appointed time, at the aligning of stars, the heavens shall rain down upon the ground sufficiently prepared, and thus the 2 opposing pyres shall be set ablaze. Thus shall commence a rite. Triumvirates are to protect their rights as they would their lifeblood. Lifeblood itself is never to be shed before, during, or after any rite, lest the disobeyer suffer permanent expulsion. Exile is injury enough. Rite is an act of mercy. Fear not the purifying flame. Plunge it into the headlong and without fear, for you shall be protected by the stars themselves. Seek freedom in the flame. Were that 8 scribes also all exiles? I'm not sure if I remember reading that or not. It's possible it was brought up and I just forgot, which is fair enough. But aura. Exiles bearing arraignments and this book reveal the hidden inner aura in the colour of their flame. The aura is the exile's solitary weapon of rights. Should one's adversary cross one's auras, the adversary shall be banished. Banishment is fleeting nonetheless. Seek your pyre's light and thus make your return. The exile's presence shapes the aura. Exiles gain greater auras while standing side by side with their triumvirates, for we gain strength together. Exiles may cast that aura through sheer force of focus on this book. Oh, every exile needs their own book? Or do we only have 3 copies of a book which we give out to the people with triumvirates each time? I don't know. The Celestial Orb. As the 2 flames are lit, so shall the Celestial Orb fall from the heavens. But one such orb shall be veiled by the stars, requiring triumvirate to vie for it. It is cosmic connection to the flames, the arraignments, and this book bestows the necessary qualities for its bearer to prevail. Effortlessly sails the orb between the free and the triumvirate. It seeks a grasp of whoever acts among the free. Once grasped, the orb shall draw within it all the bearer's aura, fueled by the triumvirate's own flame. It is to be cast into the flame! With an exclamation mark for some, excitement there. The path. In each rite we gain enlightenment, whether we prevail or we fail. Indeed, though, through failure do we tend to learn the most valued lessons, provided we survive. None among us have prevailed without end. Exiles who walk a path towards enlightenment shall, at times, be struck by an epiphany and achieve mastery in some respect. Choose well among these blessings we bestow. Thus you may yet achieve your potential and surpass your adversaries. Whenever you prevail, your triumvirate earns favour. In time, the triumvirate with the most favour shall be summoned to the liberation rite to earn a chance at freedom. Then the cycle shall begin anew. Liberation. The liberation rite takes place upon the fall of Sodium under a blooded moon witnessed by the heralds from the stars. There the most favoured triumvirate shall confront the one which we appoint. These 2 triumvirates, so this must apply to all triumvirates then. These 2 triumvirates first shall pass through the scribe's gate, where their worth shall be assessed under the stars. Only the most enlightened exiles within each triumvirate may be anointed for a chance at freedom. Only the most enlightened exiles within each... Oh! Is this what determines who we can choose for the liberation rite? Is whoever has the most enlightenment? Oh, so that's probably why we couldn't free Sir Gilman. It's because Hedwyn, Jodie and Rookie probably all have way more than him, right? I need to keep that in mind then. 2 of their companions shall support them while they strive. The anointed champion of a triumvirate which prevails, then shall purge into the shimmering pool and return in glory. I guess that makes sense, because this game is trying to sort of encourage you to build up your characters and then be forced to release your strong characters, so you're forced to use a weaker characters. It's sort of like a give and take. And that is the final page in this chapter of a book. I like the way, when they sort of give you instructions and descriptions, I suppose, but use a in-universe way of sort of doing it. It seems like everything does have an in-universe exploration, which is quite nice, Love that. You rise early that morning, but Bertrude is already awake. She scowls at you.
Good morning, reader. Bertrude, I trust your stay has not been too uncomfortable.
Nay, Sandalwood, the comforts of this place are not for us. Fly us forth from here to lower ground. Let us get on with all of this.
The reader shall do so once the group is ready. I thank you for your patience.
Take off. Up through the atmosphere we'll run to... the unknown I fear. Oh, hello again. You can hear that angry hissing coming from Udmilde all the way from your position.
You think perhaps the skies belong to you?
Oh, I think I've been doing Udmilde's voice for Bertrude this entire time.
Foolish. The skies and everything above them and below belong to the astral born. Ye shall be smitten from his skies on his awakening. Now begone!
Alright. Nice to see you too, Udmilde. as we are going to fly into... No, not you. You don't want to talk to us? No, we'll just keep going until we run into the demon people. You! Crash.
My, that was a bit of a close call there, Nightwings. Are you perhaps intent on humiliating us even more after last time? Now then, we're pressing engagement soon, so I'm afraid we've little time for chat. Much as I do cherish our exchanges, we must beg your leave. Until some other time.
Those trees very much do look like the ones from Valorax, don't they? What have we got, like the feeble thimbleberries or something? Have you not done enough yet, Nightwings? Father was just now attempting to rest, but still you torment him. He may think you have some honor in you, but I can see plain what you really are. Leave us alone, damn you. Bang, bang. I suppose I'm a bad person if I continuously want to sort of crash into them like this, huh? Hello? What? You don't want to... Oh, there we go. Yonder lies the original goal. Somewhat less imposing when viewed from this vantage point. Do you not agree, reader? The myths of a downside. Horret is no mere ridge of stone, but the Lord of Gandroth once slayed by Gold Cathanian himself. Lord Gandroth, the serpent titan vanquished by the scribe Gold Cathanian, he brandished his tower shield and sent Gandroth's fury back into the continents, the Book of Rites. Though, perhaps such tales are a little important now, when you stand to confront the tempers there in just a short while. So we can either go to Hollow, where Pamela thinks this should be the quickest route, leaving you time with your vocations, or Jodie's vocations one. They're pretty similar, so I guess we'll go with Jodie, because I think we went to Pavin for recently. You saw near to the border of the sandfolds, where your companions first found you in the downside long ago. There was nothing for you there, and you wish to never see it again. Well, alright, bye. And since we do want to talk to Jodie a bit more, this is like her story, I think it's good to have a bit of focus on her if at all possible. As I have a sip of water. You make a successful landing on the downside prairie, near the southern edge of the downside. Memories of having first met Headwind, Jodara and Rookie come flooding back. You now should have some time in the vicinity before continuing onwards to the Ridge of Gold by land. Well, let's first chat to whoever we can, who is apparently Volfred. Volfred is poring over a copy of a Book of Rites as you approach. He looks up at you and smiles.
The Road to Freedom, written in a book that hardly anyone believes exists, and fewer still can read and comprehend. Sometimes I marvel how absurd all of this is, my girl. Tell me something, though. I spent so much time considering the book, but known so few with whom I discuss it in much detail. You've had some time to turn on through it by now, so what do you think? Worth all the fuss? Volfred wants to know your thoughts about the Book of Rites. You find it fascinating. You come across more than your fair share of books, but none quite like this. You find it tedious. There's an archaic volume dense with lore you are not concerned with at this point. You only skimmed it. You would rather reserve judgment until you have more reading time. The Book of Rites is meant to be experienced and cannot be described. I find it fascinating, I suppose I'll say. I have been reading all the pages. You tell Volfred the book has fascinated you, but you've never seen anything quite like it. He nods slowly as you describe your experience with it. I share the sentiment. To have in our possession a genuine artifact from a forgotten time. How much of it is exactly true, and how much of it is a scribe's retelling of events? Well, I suppose all of it is a retelling of events, isn't it? I find it endlessly fascinating to consider, I must admit.
He puts away his copy of a book with care.
It is amazing what these volumes have survived for all this time, I think. Whatever they are made of has withstood the ravaging effects of time quite well. And the ideas there contained, they remain rather provocative as well. To think our Commonwealth disavows the existence of this book, despite official recognition of the 8 scribes. Although the reasons why are in there written plain, how fascinating that its secrets have been kept for all this time. Anyway, you'll have to excuse me for my extracurricular interests in its teachings. I used to teach a version of its history.
Ah, you used to be a teacher, did you?
To have access to the real thing has brought me some small pleasure. Let us be certain to preserve these volumes for whomever shall be next to use them.
He turns his attention to other matters and bids you a good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Wilfred. As we read yet another page of his book. The Downside Prairie. The Downside is connected to our realm via a single artery, the river named for a prestigious sap colleague, Lou Sclorian. That river gushes into seemingly nothingness. That seeming nothingness turned out to be, of course, the Downside. Its existence undermines thousands of years of thought about the composition of a world. The Downside's southern edge, we all call the Soundfolds. It is a deserted wasteland, speaking well to this land's lack of hospitality. Here the strength of many who survive a river journey finally fails. If only they could clamber further north, where lies a verdant Downside prairie. a better place to perish, to be sure. So it's a nice place to die, is what you're telling me. Which, you know, still can't ask what's on your mind. I assume we've got to either do something or we've reached the end of a story. So there's some downside. Oh, we received downside barrier. I didn't realize we could interact like that with these. All right, let us survey the blooming pool. You volunteered to survey the rolling hills around the Black Wagon, together with Jodario and Hedwyn. Let us depart now. The search turns up nothing much of note. The wandering of Jodario and Hedwyn provides reprieve on a long day of the road. Together you return to the wagon in somewhat better spirits. You should have time remaining with which you may pursue your vocations. Just to check, we got no one in here? Nope. Let us mentor someone. I guess we can mentor Bertrude, oh my word. So knowing now that the people with the most, oh my word. You have so much, wait, exiles gain twice as quickly one, but you have inspiration. Wait. Exiles gain enlightenment twice as quickly while they have inspiration. Oh, I see. So knowing that the most, highest XP people are the people that we can actually liberate, we should consider who we want to liberate next. Because I wonder if it's time to start liberating Hedwyn and Jodario. Or, I don't know, we haven't done Hedwyn's story yet. So Gilman's only done 3 rites? So who... There's a little voice in the back of my mind basically warning me. We should be careful if we're not allowed to liberate everyone. That we shouldn't just leave the people we want to liberate for last. Because we definitely want to liberate these two, because these two definitely want to get out of here. May, I'm actually not sure if we want to liberate May as a priority, because, you know, it kind of seems like she was treated pretty badly in the downside, but I suppose we, sorry, not the downside, the Commonwealth, but I suppose we can make a better future for her there. Pamitha, I don't know. I'm not sure she wants to be separated with her sister, and we don't even know anything about Bertrude yet, so the priority should be these two, I think. And then, so, okay, I want to liberate Hedwyn, I think, next. Jodario, I think, will be after we find out his story. Hedwyn, we've kind of got most of his story, I believe. I don't really remember it, but... and then I think we'll probably want to do Sir Gilman. And then we'll have to see with Pamitha, Bertrude, and May who will go next. So I think we should mentor Sir Gilman.
This knight shall be your eager protege.
You sit down with Sir Gilman to go over some of the subtle aspects of rites, such as the state of banishment and how to return from it. You sense he's beginning to understand. Private lesson 4000.
This knight has little fear of banishment, should his self-sacrifice help clear a path for his compatriots.
That's a very noble cause of you, Sir Gilman, as we continue on our journey. Yeah, I think Hedwyn should be the next one we liberate. Because it always has to be the top 3 anyway. I'm not sure we're going to get Sir Gilman enough inspiration in time. Oh, sorry, I didn't read this. It probably said next liberation rites were about to take place here. Surely, not. I want to say surely this game will allow us to liberate everyone, but I'm not so sure that's really much of a surely. Hey guys, say what are you guys doing all the way back here? You know it's not so bad here. I was thinking, I got some pretty good stuff. I think you ought to check it out. What new stuff have you got? You just got more of this stuff, which, you know, what's this? Use this as a stress reliever. This could be sold at a slug market. Alright, get sold. Ruki's Fang thing we'll put down here. I don't know, do we want to buy any of these? 15. So these are the most cost effective, so I guess we'll buy this. What's this one? Pyre deals bonus damage. That's how you get repeat customers there, Dad. You give them a deal. Who can we chat to? I don't think we'll have enough time to do the rites this time. We've done a lot of reading this time. You find Jodario seemingly deep in thought. You consider whether to even bother her. Your presence is not unwelcome, reader. Remain a moment, please. She stares at you for some time. Today marks the beginning of my 16th year in exile. 16 years! You look back at her and remain silent. You sense that all she wants from you right now is for you to listen. Absolutely, I'm a good listener. I say as I continuously talk over what you're saying. I've kept count, but not just in this breastplate of mine for each passing day. Notice how much of it has frayed. 16 years, reader. The orphans whom I fostered would be long since fully grown. Some of them are likely gone. Many of them spoke how they longed to one day serve with me on the blood border. Oh yeah, were you a military person, right? Wait, but you looked after orphans?
Sometimes I cannot help but wonder if I still were captain, could I have protected them? Could I have made a difference? I think not. The Commonwealth and the Highway remnants, they have fought eternally. Those such as I have come and gone throughout the age. I catch myself feeling pity for my years. But then, had I remained there on the blood border, it is unlikely I would have lived to see this day.
She looks at you again.
Do you know why they cast me down? I was a decorated captain. They said I was the best.
She closed her eyes a moment before she continues.
One day, it was a standard patrol, but I ran across a pack of harp fledglings. I ran across a pack of harp fledglings, fully armed and preparing for a strike, but all on my own. They were nothing for my regiment. We ensnared them all and took them in, a considerable prize. They were not yet conditioned and could be made to talk. When the order came down that they were to be executed, I could not bring myself. The Commonwealth, priding itself on mercy, committing such acts through one such as me, it was unconscionable. So I thought, then, at least, in my younger years, I let the damned birds go, made no claims as to the contrary, and turned myself in. I was cast down the following week, 16 years ago. Thus, my enemies had the last laugh in that exchange. If I were faced with the same choice again, today, I do not know for certain that I would have chosen just the same. I think you made a good choice there, Jodariel. You stood for what you believed in, and true to yourself. Now, then, I shall go and mark this occasion, as I've always done. Be well, reader.
She heads out of the wagon alone. Right. Roster bio updated Jodariel. So we know that she was a veteran. She served on Commonwealth's blood border. Those who excelled remained. Clashes over highway remnants were frequent where the greatest waters passed. Capriest. She was born on the 23rd of the 12th moon, suggesting she's ambitious but also discontented. One's astral side often foretells one's dispositions, strengths, and idiosyncrasies. Insubordination. She disobeyed a direct order to execute enemy combatants of a highway remnants. As mercy guides our hand, we spare your lives, but rid ourselves of you from sentencing ceremony. Insurrection. The records state she showed flagrant disrespect to the proper chain of command. In the downside, once past her 10 to be survived 16 years in downside. It is a life sentence. She was a seasoned captain serving on the blood border, and she fostered the orphans of her fallen brothers and sisters. One day, she captured a flock of harp fledglings who had flown too close to the Commonwealth. When she was given the order to put them down, she refused, and thus was sentenced to exile. There she survived on her own and gained her horns. Many years later, she encountered Hedwyn, whom she last remembered as one of the children she had in her care. Oh. Desertion. He fled the blood border. Ah, yes, he fell in love with someone, that was right. And got exiled. May we know she was abandoned because people didn't understand her. We don't know about Sir Gilman's stuff, so I guess we shouldn't, we should exile, as I say, we should exile people that we got stories of. And since we got the stories of these two, and I definitely want those two to be exiled, and we got to exile them at some point. The Serpent Queen, she's a bog dweller once feared and represented in the Commonwealth for sorceress work. Blast fires an awe in a wedge-shaped passion. We have seen this in the other people who've done it. Launches forward great distances as a pounce. Slivers forward much faster but with less control. Race Crone, bog-dwelling serpentine creatures known for their bluntness, stubbornness, and wisdom. Either the Commonwealth tolerated the crones of the southern bogs, or the other way round. Alchemists, the Commonwealth tolerated the bog-dwellers, desiring the product of a sorcerer's trade. The bog-dwellers on the outskirts of the Commonwealth performed profane experiments with little supervision. She's a bog-dweller of considerable notoriety here in the downside, and runs a sort of business bearing her own name. She has a forbidden way about her, but her respect for Wilfred is evident, and even borders on affection. Ah, she's like a grandma or a mother, I suppose, to Wilfred. She seems to know much of her rights, despite not having conducted them prior to joining forces with you. Ah, it's her first time to doing them. So we don't know much about you. Yeah, so we should try and find out more about your two stories. So maybe we should be doing more against Deluge and Pamitha, now that we've learned what happened with Jodariel. But we're going to... it's 34 minutes. I've got to round this episode here. We will read the next passage in my book in the next episode and then conduct a rites, and we'll see where we go from there. So for now, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Pyre. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, subscriptions, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me, Dear Darling Discord. Follow me on Twitter down below. Hope we see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.